Who remembers their kindergarten teacher? I remember Miss Bartlett and Miss Johns like the back of my hand, but only like a certain version of them. I remember the version of them that was my kindergarten teacher for like a year, and they definitely taught at my school much longer than that, and I probably had interactions with them much longer than that. However, what sticks out to me is the seeds that they planted in kindergarten, and I just have like a few distinct memories of things that they were teaching me or things that we talked about. Not a lot of memories, but a couple. And then honestly, as you go forward all through the school years, I can remember a teacher from every single year. And if not a teacher, then I definitely have a few memories of like a friend or something. And outside of those memories, like those people don't exist in my life anymore. So there was a super small seed planted a long time ago via memory or via experience. I mean, obviously they're memories now, but through an experience with these people, often a learning experience. And I think about the most random things so often. I think about my interactions with people and I think about the small little tidbits that they left in my life. And I'm often like, they probably have no idea about you. They probably don't remember you. And then I reach out and I ask people sometimes, and turns out a lot of people remember. People remember the most random of things. People who share experiences often are much more connected than it seems. Distance and distraction can really separate us from those feelings. But honestly, humans are so much more connected and they crave so much more connection than what we get in today's world. And that's a story for another time. But what I really want to hone in on is that little tiny experience plants a seed. And, like I said, oftentimes those are just little memories of like funny things, learning experiences, things that, I don't want to say they're insignificant because they stick with me even like almost 30 years later. However, they only pop up, at certain times. They're not always in the forefront of my mind. Different experiences, different interactions cause me to reflect on those things, or they bring to the surface those memories and just remind me. And so the significance of all of this is to remind you that you can have interactions that plant seeds in people's lives that don't seem super significant. It doesn't always have to be something crazy huge or some big display or dramatic event, planting little seeds, telling someone that Jesus loves them, telling someone the truth about Jesus can really change someone's life. And it may not happen in that moment. It may take a little bit. It may happen over time, but God will continue to work in their life and reveal things to them that will hopefully ignite those memories and water those little seeds that we have planted that help bring them closer to God. And I had seen a post earlier this week talking about how you really can't force people to believe. And that's so true. And even people that say they believe, you can't force them to live a life that honors God. However, you can love them and you can plant seeds of love and ask God to water them. God's already doing so much work behind the scenes that we can't see or understand. But sometimes our intercession on the behalf of a friend who's struggling or someone that we know needs prayer or needs that intercession, it can be life changing. It can be so much bigger than we imagined. When you plant seeds, they grow. And I always love the reference that, you only need faith as big as a mustard seed and you can move mountains. And I think when people read that out of the Bible, they assume that you just have to have like a tiny little bit of faith and you can do so much. And in some ways, yes, like that's true. But I think the true analogy there is that a mustard seed, once it's rooted, once it's watered and taken care of, the root system becomes so huge. It's so much bigger than you can see. It's immovable. It creates an immovable system of roots that holds up the tree and makes it so, so strong. Not because there was just a little bit of faith, but because that little bit of faith was watered and grew so, 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 so big. And as I reflect on my own life and my own faith, I just know that it hasn't always been this big. And sometimes I look at it and I'm just like, yeah, it's easy. You just have faith this big. That's just how it happens. You just believe in God and that's it. But it's so not that simple. And as I reflect, like, I'm just reminded of ooh, not trying to cry here. I am reminded of every single hard thing that brought me a little bit closer to God. And I'm reminded of so many people that planted seeds and all the different ways that God watered those seeds along the way, all the different things that people had said or done, and the ways that God multiplied it and just grew it and blessed it and helped me to pass it on and plant more seeds. It's just been honestly such a blessing. But as I reflect, it's such an eye opener to the amazing ways that God sustains us and fulfills us and just provides for us and carries us and loves us. And so I hope that in the coming days, weeks, whatever, that you will plant seeds and that you will pray that God will water those seeds and that you will pray that God can use you to help those around you to feel his love. And so I just leave you with that little bit of encouragement and I'll be praying for you. Stay blessed, friends.